welcome back everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you saw our other videos, I know it's been a really long time since we posted the last one. It's been like a year?
It's been a year since we were in Belize, and I was kind of like, should we even do this video at this point? We still wanted to make this and share our experience. We obviously don't know how much has changed since we've been there, but we'll be able to just share what we did, and hopefully that'll help you in some way if you are planning a trip to Belize. We wish we were there now.
Oh my gosh.
Not in cold Colorado.
Freezing cold outside right now.
Yeah.
So in the first two episodes, we talked about some of our time on the mainland, and in this episode, or video, whatever you want to call it, we're going to talk about our time in the Keys and the islands of Belize. We had so much fun on this trip. If you haven't seen the first two videos, recommend taking a look just to kind of get familiar with what we did, why we did it. So in order to get from the mainland to Caye Caulker, you can either fly or you can take a water taxi. So we ended up opting for the water taxi. Part of it was cost, and then it's kind of an adventure getting out on a boat, getting in the water, and seeing what that's like. So
yeah, it was fun.
And then we got to Caye Caulker. And then when we were in Caye Caulker, we ended up staying in an Airbnb. So we decided to go with an Airbnb. I think, I wanted to have a kitchen because I was feeling frugal. Like, I wanted to be able to cook some meals for ourselves. That was not the best choice for us, I think, kind of in hindsight. The kitchen was a little small, and the cost of food is marginally less than just eating out at a lot of the restaurants, and the restaurants are so good. And if you're there, the simplicity of just eating at restaurants, not having to do dishes, not having to clean up, I think it is well worth not getting a kitchen and planning to eat in the restaurants.
It was so fun too. There's so many restaurants, and we had a lot of fun just kind of food exploring the island.
Oh yeah, food exploring the island was great.
Yeah.
So we don't have any specific food recommendations. We just would say that once you get there, just walk around. I don't think you're going to make a wrong choice. Just another note on Caye Caulker. It was split by a storm. I think it was a storm or something like that split this key in two. So there's a South Island that's much more developed, and then there's a North Island that's not as developed. It seems like it's starting to get more developed, but there really isn't a lot up there. It's much more private, much quieter. You don't have golf carts driving around, at least not as much as you do on the South Side. So just something to keep in mind. If you're looking for activities and restaurants and things to do and bars and music and all that stuff, the South Side's going to have that. If you're looking for a little bit more tranquility, a little bit slower pace, kind of the old Caye Caulker feel, you'll probably get that more on the north side. Yeah,
so just to talk about some of the activities that we did on Caye Caulker, one of the main things we did was just walk around the island. You can walk the whole length of the island, so we did that a few times and just kind of explored what there was to see. And we also ended up getting a massage, so that is something that I would recommend doing. That was a really fun experience because it was this, I don't remember the name of the place that we went to, but it was like this little dock that kind of went out over the water, and I think I have a little clip that I'll put in right here. And then snorkeling. I feel like if you go to Caye Caulker, you have to go snorkeling. If you go to Belize, you have to go snorkeling. I think isn't it the second greatest barrier reef?
I think it's the second largest,
world?
Second largest barrier reef in the world.
So it's just amazing. It's incredible snorkeling. We got to see so many incredible things. We went through a company called Saltwater Eco Tours, and we had a good experience with them. There are so many companies that do these tours on the island, so you can kind of figure out what you want to do, but we really liked the one that we went with. We
got lucky and we got to swim with a manatee, so that's a little unusual to even see one. So to be able to swim with it right within 20 feet of you was incredible.
I think they hadn't seen a manatee in 2 weeks or something, and they go on these tours every single day. And so they were really hoping we'd get to see one, and we did. It was so cool. Definitely go snorkeling if you go to Caye Caulker. It was the highlight for me, for sure.
Okay, so another thing, if you really like getting off the beaten path and sort of doing your own thing, you can rent paddle boards and you can rent kayaks. And it's, you know, it's pretty open. You know, you grab the paddleboard or the kayak and you can take it pretty much wherever you want. You know, stop on little beaches on the North Island that maybe are a little bit less developed or aren't developed at all. We ended up kind of getting some lunch to go, put it in our kayak, went up to the North Island and or the north side of Caye Caulker, and just sat on the beach and had lunch, and it was great, and we had the whole spot to ourselves. I know the island's going through a lot of development, so I don't know how much longer you'll be able to do something like that, but we loved it. We had an absolute blast, just chilling out in this little remote spot. It felt like we were the only people on Earth when we were there. It was just kind of a surreal experience. So if you like getting off the beaten path, definitely do that. And on the way back, we ran into some other paddle boarders that were just kind of exploring, and it was fun just chatting with them. But yeah, when we had that little beach, this little alcove, it was like we're the only people on the planet.
So towards the end of our stay at Caye Caulker, we discovered this place on the north side of the island called, at the time it was called Koko King, and it's now called Northside Beach Club. I think I Googled it, but we wish that we had discovered this sooner because it's just this beautiful resort property. And we took, they have a water taxi, or they did, at least at the time, I'm sure they still do. We took their water taxi up to this resort and we just hung out on their property. We got lunch at their restaurant. It was delicious. Like,
and it's a very small resort, so don't think like huge, like high-rise hotel. I mean, think very boutique, little restaurant over the water, and maybe like 5 or 6 beach beds. So not like this huge thing. It was pretty low-key. We
went at a time where there were hardly any people there, so I have no idea what it's like now, but it was just super relaxing. The food was so good. Like, I got this black bean bowl that I seriously think about, like, to this day. I'm still thinking about this specific black bean bowl that I got at their restaurant.
The French fries were amazing.
Yeah, the French fries. We got drinks there. We just enjoyed their beach and their property, and it was great, and we wish that we had discovered that sooner. So definitely, if you're on Caye Caulker, look into, I think I said it was called the Northside Beach Club now.
Yeah, and they were really nice too. They just kind of let us hang out there all day, even though we were just using the restaurant. And I'm not sure if that's still, you know, what they have going on, because I know, you know, COVID restrictions, things change. We just had a great time. So
yeah. So that pretty much wraps up our time on Caye Caulker, and our next destination was San Pedro. So we took the water taxi again to San Pedro, but we really don't have any San Pedro recommendations because we got to our resort and we only left one time, and that was just to get some money at the ATM.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we rented a golf cart, and that was our one time that we ventured off the property of our resort, and it was a funny
intense
experience.
So taking the water taxi, I would not expect it to just be some kind of streamlined experience. You know, it was adventurous, at least for us. You know, we're accustomed to like very clear cut Ubers and all that, you know. So you get off the water taxi, you find a taxi of your choosing, like a physical taxi to take you where you want to go. We picked a guy with a minivan, and he was great. You know, he
He got us there.
He got us there. He got our bags in the van, and he was super nice. So we didn't arrange that through the hotel or anything like that, but I'm sure you could arrange like a taxi or a pickup from the hotel or resort, whatever you're staying at.
I didn't even think about that until we were there. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we have to figure out how to get there. So yeah, we stayed at the Mahogany Bay Resort. We had a lot of points to use.
Yeah, we had a huge amount of Hilton points that we had accumulated through some kind of strategic things that we might be able to talk about in another video.
Yeah.
But we were very lucky that, you know, it was kind of an experiment to do the whole points thing with a credit card, and it worked out extremely well for us. So the whole hotel was paid for just with points. So it didn't cost us a dime except for the food. So it was amazing. I mean, it would have been very expensive if we hadn't done the points.
So we loved our experience at Mahogany Bay. It is an incredible resort. They have their own private beach, which you take a boat to every day. So they have a schedule where it takes you to this private beach where they have a restaurant, they have a bar, they have just all the lounge spots that you could hope for. And it was incredible.
We're here at this incredible private beach at Mahogany Bay. This is my lovely wife, Elizabeth. I don't know if you've met her before, but that's who I'm married to.
We were very, very lucky to be able to stay here using our points because it was just a beautiful resort and there was no need for us to leave and to go off the resort property. Like, everything was right there.
We did a lot of adventurous things on this trip. Not a lot of the things that we did were very all-inclusive. And so wrapping up the trip with 8 nights or 9 nights or whatever it was at a place that was all-inclusive, I highly recommend that, because our vacation, you know, the rest of it was a lot of fun, but there was a lot of, like, it was very active, it was very engaging. Some things maybe weren't quite so relaxing. It was very nice to just finish the trip with just kind of that pure relaxation. We know where we're getting food, we love the food, we know what we're going to do to hang out. You know, we're going to go get a paddleboard at the beach, and gosh, it was incredible. That beach is amazing. It's so private. No one else can come to that beach. It's just for this resort. Obviously, when we were there were hardly any other people, so we practically had it to ourselves.
It was an incredible experience. I would love to go back there one day. And it was, like you said, just really nice not to have to plan any of the details or anything. And I think that's a really great way to wrap up the trip too, so that you don't get home feeling like kind of frazzled. Like, I feel like we really relaxed that last week. So I think I have some footage of like a tour of our room, so I'll play that right now. Well, turns out when you wear a snorkel mask for most of the day, you get a little line like this on your head.
And now, with that caveat in place, we're going to give you a nice little tour of our lovely room in Mahogany Bay on San Pedro, Belize.
So this is the front door right here, and it leads into this beautiful little sunroom. I'm going to be reading here so much.
Got a nice view out the window, beautiful water.
My first thought when I saw this room was panic that I don't have enough books. And then you come through this door, and they actually upgraded us. We had just like the basic room before, but they upgraded us to this really cool, I think it's called like a keeping suite. So we have almost like a full kitchen in here with a little toaster oven. Got this cool workspace area that you can actually fold down to save space. We have a little stovetop burner, fridge, sink, and the ceiling up above is the natural finish, and it's so pretty.
Yeah, it is just gorgeous. And just a caveat, you'll probably hear the occasional golf cart go by, because that is the mode of transportation they use on Ambergris Caye.
So then you come around here into the bedroom.
It's bright outside right now, but there's a nice view of the little village they have set up of like different little resort property kind of places.
Everything you need is right here on their property. They have little restaurants and stuff, and coffee shop, their own beach. So we could stay here and never have to leave the property, which is really cool. Here is the bathroom. I love this bathroom. It's really pretty. Yeah, I'm so excited to take a shower in here. There's this wooden flooring in here, which is really cool. So that is basically our entire trip. And the last thing that we wanted to talk about was just getting back to the mainland and back to the airport to fly home. So we got some really good advice because we were originally planning to take the water taxi again, and then we would have had to have arranged to have transportation from the water taxi to the airport. And it was just a lot of moving pieces and a lot of, we had to be at the airport at a certain time. We got the advice to just take the plane back to the airport, because then you're already there, you're at the airport, you don't have to worry about all the logistics and making sure that you get there on time and everything.
Yeah, so we ended up deciding to take the plane, and we enjoyed it. It was super fun because you're not flying like super high. You can see the water clearly. You can probably even see some sharks and rays and things, as you're closer to land, which is kind of fun, like looking down and seeing sea life and boats and all those things from the plane. So it was really fun. It was a really cool experience. So I would not recommend taking the water taxi. You're not going to save that much money, and it's going to take a lot longer to get.
Just a lot more details to work out too.
That smooth, streamlined experience, plus the cool experience of being in a small airplane. I mean, Elizabeth, you were in the front seat.
You were in the front seat.
I was in the front seat.
I was in the very back.
I was in the front seat of the plane. Yeah. Was I next to the pilot?
I think you were behind.
Right behind the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like right there. You're in this tiny plane and you're flying over this tropical water. It's beautiful. So it's an experience in and of itself.
Yeah, it really was, because the views, you're not going to get views like that any other way. Definitely recommend just taking the plane back when you are ready to fly back home.
Yeah, if you ever fly back home.
Yeah, you won't want to.
We're going to talk about some trip highlights before we wrap up the video. So the thing that we think about the most, if we go back to Belize, where would we want to be and what would we want to do, is...
Black Rock.
Yeah, Black Rock Lodge. That was the place that we both enjoyed the most. I think it was just the experience and the solitude and the friendliness of the people working there, and the food and the environment. It was all just incredible, and it didn't really cost that much. In a future trip, we would just be at Black Rock for like 2 weeks and just hang out and enjoy it, and then go straight home. I think if we were going to do a trip again.
And we loved our entire experience, and I'm so glad we got to do every single part of it that we did.
It's so hard to make a call, because it's not to say the other places weren't amazing. They really were, and we would highly recommend them. I think just in retrospect, if we were going to go back to Belize, I think that's the one that we would pick.
Yeah, we loved it. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
and
we talk about taking our kids there someday.
Definitely recommend that, which was part 1. So if you missed part 1, I'll link it. You should be able to go see that and see our experience at Black Rock Lodge. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really, really hope that it was helpful to you and that you enjoyed seeing our footage and our experience. And please let us know if you do plan a trip to Belize, and if you end up going, let us know what you think. Let us know your favorite parts. And yeah, we really appreciate you watching this series that we've made, and I hope that it's helpful.
Yeah, thanks so much.